Hey everybody, Movie Reviewer Next Door here, and I'm back with another review. This time I am reviewing Security. It's a 2017 action thriller film directed by Alain Desrochers. Desrochers. I guess that's how you pronounce it. I think he's French. And it stars Antonio Banderas, Ben Kingsley, Liam McIntyre, Chad Lindbergh, Gabriella Wright, Kung Lee, Jiro Wang, and Catherine De La Rocha. In this film, an ex-Special Services veteran, down on his luck and desperate for work, takes a job as a security guard at a rundown mall in a rough area of town. On his first night on the job, he opens the door to a distraught and desperate young girl who has fled the hijacking of a police motorcade that was transporting her to testify as a witness in a trial. Hot on her heels is the psychopathic hijacker and his team of henchmen, who will stop at nothing to extract and eliminate the witness. So, what did I think of Security? I've seen this film a couple times. It's from Millennium. They've produced a lot of films that I've loved. The Olympus Has Fallen trilogy, Olympus, London, and Angel, and soon to be Night. They produced Till Death, the only Megan Fox movie that I've ever given a shit about. Jolt, which I have the 4K Blu-ray over there because I really enjoy that film and I wanted to have it. It's got really cool looking special features. What else? Survivor with Milla Jovovich is a pretty decent watch, if a little unremarkable. But Millennium, again, like I've said, Millennium does good work for the most part. They have some misfires earlier on, and later on. Criminal wasn't as exciting as I wanted it to be, and it didn't really use its premise to the best of its ability. It didn't fully use the premise, and I can say that's what they did here. But I still like the film due to how much it does right. It's just that it's a little bit irritating, the things that they kind of skimped out on. But let me get to the cast. Antonio Banderas plays Eduardo Eddie Deacon, former Army, needs a job, hasn't worked in over a year, and he gets a job as this, basically a mall cop. But Antonio Banderas hasn't done a ton of action roles in his career. He's kind of more known for romantic comedies or erotic thrillers or just thrillers in general. And yeah, you could say some know him for Desperado and Mask of Zorro, but he doesn't usually have this tough guy persona type of thing. And I think he does it very well without coming off too comedic in how tough they make him. Like, they still make him like a family man. He wants to get back to his family. But most of all, is he a badass in this? And yes, I wish there was a little bit more, and I'll get to that. Ben Kingsley plays Charlie. He's the main villain. He's after this girl who's a witness, being transported for her testimony. He's good in the film, but he's severely underused. I've heard a lot of people say, especially, what's his name, Bad Movie Bible, who did like 2 videos on Die Hard clones, that Ben Kingsley is fully utilized in this, and I don't think he really is. If anything, he seems a bit tempered. Not hot-tempered, just tempered. It seems weird. It's like, this is the exact movie you'd expect Ben Kingsley to go all out, over the top on. But he's kind of reserved, and it kind of doesn't fit the movie, because the movie both wants to be a little bit super serious and kind of goofy fun. I kind of wish it went for the goofy fun, but Liam McIntyre plays Vance. He is the leader of these mall cops. I liked him. Yeah, at the beginning he could be a little bit annoying, but as the movie goes on, I really grew to like the character quite a bit. And his hair was so funny looking. But Chad Lindbergh as Mason. He's kind of the jittery one. He's kind of shy and kind of breaks down whenever there's a bunch of gunfire. kind of like I probably would. He's okay. He doesn't really talk like a human a lot of the time, because he'll be like, they have guns outside. It reminds me of that scene from The Good Doctor. And I know a lot of people have already made fun of it, but the I am a surgeon, it was that type of acting. And the character's not at any point hinted at being autistic. And again, I don't think yes, autistic people can have outbursts, but when it gets to the point where the character is kind of just written around that, where he just kind of is there to inconvenience everybody and that's it, maybe just write him out of the movie. But yeah, Gabriella Wright plays Ruby. She's kind of the hard worker, and we're introduced to her literally going to sleep after doing 2 double shifts in a row. She's okay. She doesn't get much to say or do, and I'll get to that. Kung Lee plays Deadeyes. He's kind of the top henchman, but again, Kung Lee is kind of wasted because he's a mixed martial artist, and yeah, you don't have him doing much acting in the movie, but you could have him doing more fighting. Because again, mixed martial artists can do better fights than just actors using stunt doubles or learning the choreography themselves for the most part. Jiro Wang as Johnny. He's kind of, I guess he's just the Asian one. He doesn't really have any. He doesn't really have a personality, to be honest, and I was kind of disappointed in that. I was like, wait, he's just there. Most we learn about him is he knows how to make bombs, apparently from YouTube. He was okay. And Catherine Della Rocha as Jamie. She's the girl that flees the witness thing. She's not great. I think she's very annoying for the most part. But yeah, the main thing I can say, again, this film is so close to being like a modern action classic. Because the action is well done. The film looks really great. This film had a budget of $15 million, which might sound like a lot to most who aren't into movies, but let me give you a hint. John Wick Chapter 4 had a $100 million budget. The first John Wick had a $20 to $30 million budget. So this had about half that. And I would say this film is probably spending quite a decent amount of money on its stars, even though Antonio Banderas and Ben Kingsley weren't exactly like A-list, I guess, in those terms, because I hate using those terms, A-list at this point. But maybe a lot of the budget was spent on the mall, and I can understand that because it is a cool location. I don't know. I know that this wasn't filmed in America, probably in order to keep the production costs down, which I understand. I think it was Bulgaria or something, I can't remember. But when you go into a film like this, Die Hard in a shopping mall, you would expect them to utilize the mall setting a bit more, because compare this to another kind of Die Hard-ish type movie that I've seen, Top of the World, with Peter Weller, Tia Carrere, and who was the villain? Dennis Hopper. That's set in Vegas. It utilizes the Vegas setting. My main issue with that film was its tonal inconsistencies, and it really kind of didn't seem to know what tone it wanted to go for. I still enjoyed it, though. Here, my main issue is that there are multiple actors that don't really get a chance to shine. Again, the setting is kind of wasted, and I wish there was more action, because there's not a ton of action in this film. The action doesn't start up really. There's an action scene when the girl is about to get taken away and all that from the convoy. The convoy is the first action scene. It's decently well done, but it is also kind of in the dark, so it's kind of hard to tell what's going on. And then you don't get another action scene until 40 or 50 minutes in, really? Like, full-on action scene. I understand they're trying to make this a bit more realistic in some ways, but you either have it one way or the other, because there's a couple times where it tries to do the, like, ooh, he did a badass move, like he slides under a table with 2 guns and then shoots the guys on either side. That's something that would work in something going for the tone of John Wick, where it's serious, but it still realizes, it's still self-aware in a way where you can still enjoy the absurdity. Here, it kind of doesn't know what it wants to do. Because it's like, oh, character death, we're supposed to feel sad. And then it's like, ooh, awesome action scene that's like, well, I mean, not awesome action scene. Kind of hard to explain it here. The action scenes in this are well done. They're well shot. It's not quick cutting to get around the fact that the actors can't do their own fighting. I can at least give it that. But they're missing something. Like, Millennium all these years has been known for using practical stuff, and I didn't notice any CGI. For the most part, they're using blood squibs, which I will say I am so happy for, because it really does involve me in the movie more. There's a couple small bits of CGI. I think at one point they do throw a couch off the mall, and that's real. Like an actual couch on fire. But later there's an explosion and people get sent by it, and it's CGI, and it's not great CGI. So that did take me out of it a bit. But for the most part, it seems that they're using practical effects, which is what I like to see. Because that really gets me into the action. But again, you have this entire mall set up. And really the most they do with it, there's a character that like rigs certain things in some of the gated places to move when the people trip a wire or something, or when she pulls something. That's really kind of the most they do with it. Because other than that, it's like, oh, they shoot at somebody and they end up shooting stuff on the wall or whatever, and it kind of comes off a little lame. Because I love it. I love it in films when they just go ham and just destroy everything around the person while they're trying to shoot them. I think that really involves me in the action scene because it feels like they're actually shooting real ammo. And that's what you want in an action movie, is for it to feel real. To an extent. But here it seems like they're kind of doing it to hide the fact that they don't have a ton to do in the film. This film is about 85-ish minutes without credits, and the main set piece of the film takes up an hour of the film. Like, the mall itself is probably in an hour of this hour and 25-minute film without the credits. It kind of feels like they didn't have much to do in this setting, and I feel like you spend all this time at the beginning setting up these characters, but then you don't really give them much to do. With the whole setup and payoff thing, you kind of have to deliver the payoff. The most other characters do. There's the leader character. He does quite a decent amount. He ends up saving everybody. The wimpy one saves the little girl at one point, but really doesn't do much. The girl, she uses a bow and arrow. She says, oh, I know how to use a bow and arrow. Shoots one bitch twice, and then it doesn't kill her. Jiro Wang's character, Johnny, literally does nothing. So, like, you have all these other characters, and I understand they probably want to make Antonio Banderas feel a bit more badass, but I think the whole squad thing could have been really fun and really exciting to do. Again, Liam McIntyre is the best actor of all of those guys, and he has the most to do. So I am at least glad they gave the best actor the most to do of them. But yeah, Antonio Banderas is still good in the film. He doesn't disappoint. He did another action film called Acts of Vengeance, which I liked. I'm a bit iffy on the ending. I'll probably talk about that film at some point again. But there's also Ben Kingsley again. Oh, I'm so tired. I'm sorry. Ben Kingsley again. He's fine in the film. He's good in the film. He just doesn't get the chance to really let it out. Like, actually just, like, be outward with his emotions or whatever. And the final standoff is kind of anticlimactic. When you built up how much of an evil bastard he is, and then just that. It might sound like I'm spoiling a lot, and maybe I am, but I can't really say spoiler because I haven't spoiled any real plot points. But yeah, I kind of wish this film did more with its premise. Like, take for instance Commando. Commando does not take place entirely in a mall, but there is a really cool set piece in the mall, like a chase and fight and all that. And Arnold, like, picks up one of the banners that's, like, strewn across the mall, swings on it to another part of the mall. That was really cool. Nothing really like that ever happens. The most that happens is Antonio Banderas picks up an ATV and breaks out the key for it and drives around and uses it to explode something. But yeah, like, other than the shooting, it doesn't really do anything that different. And I can kind of understand people going into this and being disappointed. I can. But yeah, like, I still enjoyed it. I still did. But yeah, it is a bit disappointing. I don't know much else this director has done. Apparently he did these films called Nitro and Nitro Rush. I think they're both on Tubi, yeah. And something called Bon Cop, Bad Cop with Colm Feore. Wushu Warrior. I don't know any of these movies really. But he's good at the directing of the action. The action looks slick and sleek. But yeah, I just wish there was a bit more meat to the film and a bit more action. And I wish it used its premise to better effect. But yeah. That was my review of Security. If you've seen the film, let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you have any recommendations, put those down in the comments as well. And movie reviewer next door.